Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Ibrahim Siddiq here with me today. How you doing, Ibrahim?
I'm good, fam. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I just want to say hello to you. Hello to everybody who's tuning in right now, whether we can see you or we cannot see you. I want to thank you. So that means Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, E360 TV, Fire TV, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Wherever you are, I want to say thank you tonight. I'm looking forward to you guys' comments in the box. If Ibrahim and I are talking and you want to add to the conversation, I love it when you guys do that. We love it when you hit the like button, hit the love button, share the video, tag other people in the video, and let's make this a movement. Ibrahim, where are you from?
Well, I guess originally I was born in Rockland County. I lived there till I was about 12 years old. Then I moved to Peekskill in Westchester County. Went to middle school and high school there, and I guess around the time I was like 20 years old, I had moved to the Bronx, and I've been in the Bronx ever since.
What was your childhood like?
Growing up, so I grew up, like I said, I grew up in Spring Valley. I guess it was
where's Spring Valley?
Yeah, so Spring Valley is in Rockland County. It's probably it's right outside the city. Well, upstate. I'm a little bit. I don't think I've ever driven there directly from the city, but I would say probably maybe like 40 minutes away. Okay. From the Bronx. But yeah, that's where I was born. That's where I grew up. My mother, my brother, my sister. Single mother. My father was in and out of jail. He was on drugs. He had did a long bid before I was born, and then when I was born, he came home. I think he was still on parole, so he was in and out, violating. So pretty much just raised by my mother, and raised me, my brother, and my sister. Hold
on. We've got people coming into the building. Hi to everybody coming into the building. Let's slow this down a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm hearing a lot of things that are going on that are similar to what a lot of people go through in America. And I think sometimes we go through things and I think we just brush it off.
That's true.
And we think, it's just something I need to get over, And when we look back, sometimes I think we rush through some of the most important parts of our actual development. And so, I want to talk about the dynamics a little bit of you being in a home with your brother and your sister and your mother. Was your mother having an easy time or a tough time raising you guys pretty much by herself?
Nah, it wasn't easy. So I guess to give you a picture of how tough it was, my mother raising 3 kids by herself, she made $12,000 a year.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, she for the early part of my childhood, now she ended up finishing school and becoming a science teacher. She always wanted to be in the science field and stuff, but in the early part of my life, she used to clean houses. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So she was she house cleaner. She made $12,000 a year. My grandmother, which my father's mother, was a big help in that. I didn't really know that at the time. I learned that later on in life, but we lived in the same apartment complex. My grandmother, my father's mom, and my mom, they had the apartment in the same. I lived on one side of the building, and my grandma lived on the other side. Of the complex. So she was always right there for my whole life. So she was a real vital part of our upbringing. And then I found out later on how more important she actually was and essential she was in helping out. But yeah, like I said, my mother was a grinder. You know what I'm saying? She was when younger, she was still in school, going to college. She worked during the day. She was going to school at night. And like doing everything she could for us. I guess about around the time I was 10, 11, she ended up meeting a man who later on became her husband, my stepfather later on. But they had been dating for years before that happened. But he this was you know, a white gentleman, because just to give background, because I guess my look can confuse people sometimes. They don't really know what I am. But my father was black, and he had part Native American from the South and whatnot. And then my mother is Irish and German. So I have a mix of all that, mostly Irish, a little bit of German.
Okay.
But basically, I'm like getting on track right here now.
Right. No, it's okay. So I want to know how your brothers and sisters were influenced by your mother working the way that she did. Did it make you guys think, hey, maybe I can go out there and get a job? At what point did you guys start to think about making money for yourselves? When did you adopt the hustle mentality?
Yeah.
How were you impacted by your mother's daily grind? And I'll give you an example. There were times where my parent might have been working all day, and I might have taken that time to think about, you know, the jobs that I'm going to take, right? I'll go out there and I'll start hustling, or, you know, I'll do something with that time. Some people, because their mother or their father was at work all day, they was outside all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So what did that look like for you with your mother working the way she was?
So a combination of the two. I guess I don't know where if I always had it or I picked it up somewhere, but I guess from as young as I can remember, I always had that like hustle mentality, right? And and then coming from, you know, from you know what I'm saying, just from not a lot, just be report, you know what I'm saying, just to put it be frank, we didn't have a lot, so you always look to get more, you know what I'm saying, looking ways to get more. And at that time I was too young to get a job, and I guess the first thing I ever did to get money, it was 9 years old, right? And in our apartment complex, you know, this is statute of limitation up for this, so I can tell I was 9 years old years ago, but no, it's not that serious. But so there's apartment complex, in my apartment complex where I grew up in Spring Valley, across it's not even really across the street, but it's like at the end of the complex, there's like this it's a factory, and it's like a paper factory, printing factory. They print a whole bunch of stuff, calendars and flyers and all this stuff or whatever. So one day, you know, and we always hang out around on the side of the building. You know, me and my friends just hang out. We ride our bikes over there, whatever the case may be. And there's always that the cargo truck that they have parked out there, but it's always locked. It's always like we always sometimes we go and check it, this and that. The lock is always on there. One day the lock was off and the door was open. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how, you know, maybe, you know, incompetent worker or something, you know what I'm saying? But we saw it was open, and I was like, probably like 8 or 9 years old at the time. Curious, you know, me and my friends hopped up in there checking out, found it was a bunch of calendars, you know, it had boxes of like big calendars and the little pocket calendars in there. So we grabbed up as many calendars as we could, and what we did, we went around the neighborhood and we went door to door, knocking on the door until we were selling. We didn't tell them what we were selling it for. What we just saying, look, we're selling calendars. We had the big ones for $1 and these pocket ones for $0.25. And we sold all day. And at the end of the day, I think between me and my 4 friends, we had about $80. And we went to McDonald's and ate like kings. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
That was our first like thing like that. Later on, my father, like, I guess around the time I was like 12, 13, my father kind of got his act together and became more in my life. And he kind of tried to steer that, like give me rules or principles of how to make a dollar, keep a dollar, and kind of steer me towards that legal route. You know what I'm saying? But he I know I'm skipping ahead, but like I said, he passed when I was 15, and that kind of took a little turn, you know, unexpected turn. But yeah, my first just dealings with just hustling and trying to make money was that warehouse was selling those calendars when I think, I don't remember the exact age, but I was no older than 10, so I was like 8 or 9.
Everybody, think about your first hustle out there. And I'll share mine. My first hustle was selling granite rocks out of the driveway next door. I would have just said selling rocks, but that would have been a little bit too. The driveway next door to mine, they got their driveway redone with these granite rocks. And I'm originally from the Midwest, so you know a lot of people have driveways. They got their own driveway, and so this driveway was being filled in with these granite rocks. The rocks were about this big, and I just thought that they looked valuable because they were sparkly and you know, it reminded me of jewelry. So I went and got a shoebox. I put a bunch of the rocks in the shoebox, and then I went down to the corner and I was selling the granite rocks on the corner. And you know, my auntie came driving down the street. She said, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I looked back and I said, you know, wow, I was really, you know, selling rocks on a corner at 7 years old, you know.
Yeah.
But think about your first hustle, everybody. I think it's natural for us to want to go out there and join the movement of adults going out there figuring out how to pay bills, how to get ahead, and really how to get out of poverty. You know, we take on the attitude of everybody having to play a role to get us out of here. You know. Now, what was your relationship like with your father? Was he writing letters, calling home, and then he came home when you were 12? So talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, well, I think he was home before I was 12. It's just he just what he didn't have
In and out.
yeah. But that when I was younger, I like, unfortunately the only really memories I have of when I was real younger or going to visit him at the county jail, you know what I'm saying, behind the you know, plexiglass or whatever it is with the phone. I remember I can remember one time specific. I remember many times going there. One time when I was real young, and other than that, other times just him coming trying to come, I guess, see us or whatever, yelling at my mom from outside the building and her telling him to get away or whatever. So it really wasn't much like I knew who he was, but it may sound weird, but I really at that time I really didn't know have the concept of a father. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know what I mean? I knew he was my father, but it's like I didn't he wasn't really around at that time. But like I said,
was it a situation? Was it a situation where you didn't really miss what you didn't have, or did you want a relationship with your father?
I mean, like thinking back, I don't really remember too much. I just I just remember him not being. It's probably one of those situations like I can't miss what I never had. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what that was. Like he was around. It's like it's not like I never met him and this and that, but it was just yeah, it's like I'm like probably he was in the house until I was like maybe like 4 or 5 maybe, you know, and then after that I would see him maybe through say in the course of a year, maybe see him once or twice, you know what I mean, coming by and passing a few minutes or whatever. But I didn't really start building a relationship with him till he was 12, until I was 12. Like I say, he got his stuff together, because before that, I guess when I was 11, we still had the supervised visit, you know, where he was only allowed to see us. My mom didn't want to deal with him. We went over to my grandmother's house, and he had to see us over there. But I guess around the time, I was too young to really know what was happening in the court situations, you know. But I just know, like before 11, we had a supervisor. Then when I was 12, he got his own apartment. Got his car. He was living up in Albany, and then I knew he was allowed to come take me up, and I got to spend the summers up there with him. You know what I'm saying? So
did you learn anything from your father when he finally came home and was able to interact with you?
Yeah,
what did you learn? What did you learn from him, and how did your world change or expand when you were able to finally sit down and have a conversation with your father?
Yeah, so two things that really stick out with my father. One, so my father was is but you know what I'm saying, he passed away, but he was Muslim. You know, they say he still is, regardless if he's here or not. But he was Muslim. But what I've just from my experience, what I realized is a lot of times when parents, when kids have parents that are religious, have a specific religion, they don't really have a choice in what religion they are. They're whatever their parents are. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember my father sitting me down and telling me, like, this is my truth, but this doesn't have to be your truth. You certainly believe, and if you want any help, if you want to sit down and read the Quran, if you want to read the Bible, you want to read the Torah, I'll sit down and I'll read it with you, and we'll find your truth. I'll help you. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll guide you, or whatever. I could be here for you in any sense. But don't think that because this is what I believe, this is what you have to believe. And that resonated with me, still does, and I feel like that was the catalyst for just me being open to just all things in life. You know what I'm saying? And not always holding on to something or think this is the right way or no, whatever the case may be, whether it may be in religion or anything. So that resonated. And another thing what he taught me, where he tried to teach me and try to actually set this up before he passed, was, like I said, when I was younger, he saw that I had that hustle mentality, so he tried to nurture that and try to steer me in the right way, and really taught me about, just making a dollar, keeping a dollar, and what. So he had a friend that sold wholesale clothing, right? And he was like, "This is what you do." My dad said, "I'm gonna be your first investor." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "I'm gonna give you $1,500. This is what you're gonna do with it." He's like, "You're gonna take $500."
Your dad gave you $1,500?
Yeah, well, he didn't give it to me at the time. I'm saying, we started it. He ended up passing shortly after this.
Oh, okay.
Well, we went to this factory. I picked out the clothes. Like we did everything. So he said, because he know at the time I was heavy into fashion. I love clothes, this and that, whatever. So he wanted to teach me about marketing, about supply and demand, about just setting up a shop. So he said, "Look, you got 2 locations where at this time I had moved away from Spring Valley. I was in Peekskill at the time. You know what I'm saying? I was about 14 because he passed when I was 15. So I was like 14 at this time. He said, "Look, I'm investing you $1,500. I'm gonna give you. You're gonna break it down in 3 increments of $500, right? You're gonna buy these clothes, $500 of worth of clothes. You're gonna take with you to Peekskill, and you're gonna set up a shop right there. Like in my house. I just tell friends I got clothes for sale. Come over, like this and that, whatever. Because had take another 500, and you're gonna leave that at your grandmother's house in Spring Valley. You know what I'm saying? When you're over there and your friends over there, you tell them you got clothes for sale. And he's like, the other 500 that's your clothes. That's you gonna wear that. You're gonna market that. That's you market yourself. You let people know what you have for sale. This and that. So he was just breaking this whole thing down to me. So we went through the whole process of brought me to his friend. I picked out what I wanted. With hats, jeans, this and that, whatever. And shortly after that, my father got sick and ended up going into hospice. He got better for a little while, then got worse, and then ended up passing away. So yeah, it was crazy how it was like the word wasn't popular back then, but I felt like life was trolling me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I never had shit built up with him. He's teaching me all these things, and then actually gonna help me put it into place, because I didn't really want to do anything in the streets, but that's really the only thing that we knew growing up. We see everybody that got money is the ones in the streets doing stuff in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So and he wanted to steer me away from that. And then the timing of it was crazy. It's like,
right. It sounds like in that short period of time, he was able to give you some things that you were able to take and really apply for the rest of your life.
Sure.
And I always find it interesting when a father who's not completely in the picture musters up the wisdom to pass down something to their child that is going to have a lasting impact. And so I just want to give some respect to your father for instilling some positive things in you in the time that he had.
Yeah.
When he said to you that this is my truth, but it doesn't have to be your truth, I think that was huge. That's similar to saying be a leader, not a follower.
Yeah.
He's your father. He wasn't even telling you to follow him to the T. He was telling you, go out there and be a leader, be your own man. And that's a gift to have somebody encourage you to go out there and be your own man in a world where so many people go and follow what everybody else is doing. But then he saw a talent in you. He said, "Oh, but I also see, that you're inclined to go out there and make things happen. So here's an idea of how to do that."
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what were some of the things that your mother taught you? Did your mother actually verbally teach you anything the way that your father sat down and taught you some things? My
mother really showed more by example.
Yep.
Because everyone says, I learned this later on, because there's more gems. Like my father every time would drop little gems. Anytime, like I say, he wasn't around the times he would drop little different gems. And everyone's always said my father was real philosophical and this and that, whatever. It's just but my mother, she's a grinder. She's a doer. She's one of the toughest people. We've had a falling out later on, and it's more so due to her remarrying and me having a friction with her new husband and whatever. But that's another story. But like I said, early on, she was inspiring just because I knew what she was doing, and I knew
right.
And like I said, even though we didn't have much, we didn't I was never hungry. I never went to sleep hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I might not have had name brand clothes, but I had clothes. I didn't have I was never dirty and dingy. You know what I'm saying? We never really went on vacation. I never went away on vacations or anything, but we went on little trips to the park and went swimming, like, you know, stuff like whenever we went away flying somewhere, but she made sure we did. She could drive there, we went there. You know what I'm saying? So like, so
it sounds like your mother was providing that structure, that example, and that, you know, that foundation, you know, for you to actually go out into the world and become something.
Yeah, for sure.
By all means necessary. And they say it's not always what you say, but what you do that influences those around you the most. Yeah. And so, you know, seeing your mother have that type of work ethic and being that type of a provider for you, obviously contributed to you being a solid individual yourself. Sure. So now you've got this mix of people in your life who are trying to be positive, at least. How does all this translate for you as a performer in school? What was middle school and high school like for you? What was that experience like?
It was weird because so I get, like, I always say, like, I tell people, like, my upbringing was different because I was like, I had this album called Nerd at the Cool Tip because I was like Nerd at the Cool Tip.
You had an album?
Yeah. I got two albums. Yeah, I think 2 albums. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you became a rapper then. When did you start rapping?
Well, the first album is like a mixture. It's like poetry mixed with music, and then I do have 2 tracks on it that I rapped on. I recently I still haven't really gotten into rap, but I still recently got more serious with it because I feel like music, it can reach a larger demographic, you know, wider audience than poetry can, than spoken word can. So my art has always just been a vehicle for activism and social change. I try to just use it to spread a message, you know what I'm saying? So if I can reach a wider audience, then I might tend to head down that lane, you know. But
when did you start to express yourself using these different art forms? When did that really show its head for you?
So that didn't start until my father actually passed away. So like, as a kid, I was like, I guess you say like a creative kid, you know what I'm saying? Just always messing around, thinking of stuff, creating stuff, whether just painting on a thing or taking some electronics apart and putting them back together, or just, you know, just trying to be creative or whatever. But as far as just my art, like it happened when, like I said, when my father passed away when I was 15, and I was just basically just sitting in my room, and I was just I had no intentions of writing a poem or anything. I was just thinking about his death, thinking about just his life, thinking about life in general, thinking about death in general, you know. And I started jotting down his questions, like, you know, why is this, why is that, whatever. And I realized I don't know if it's first 2 or first couple lines I wrote, they rhymed, but I didn't mean for it to rhyme. And I thought that was funny. So I'm like, let me see if I could just make this whole thing like rhyme or whatever, you know? So so I wrote just a bunch of questions. And at the end of it, I realized I had a poem, you know? So I titled it Questions. And it was just basically, you know, about what is life, what is death, what do we go through, what happens after, just a bunch of questions that I'm sure everybody has, you know, to one extent or another. So that was my first real poem. I mean, I've written 2 poems before that, but that was not on my own. I was in school, like one in school, and one was like this program I was in for kids that I guess that had parents that were divorced or parents that was substance abuse or both. It was something that my mother always tried to give me in different programs to help, you know, when I was younger. But I wrote a poem there about being black and white, because people always ask me, how do I feel about being mixed? And I never really had the identity issues that a lot of like mixed children go through. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why, but I never did. So I wrote a poem about that. You know, that was like my first actual poem, but on my own. So I wrote this poem when my father passed away, and then what I realized is that's a cool way to just kind of gather my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking, I'm always analyzing things or seeing how my opinion on something or whatever the case may be, but I never write it down. So I'm like, a little cool thing. Let me write, you know, just write some poems, you know? So So here and there, from I guess from age 15 to 18, I would every now and then I would write a poem here and there. I had a thought, write it down, whatever. So
did you ever share your work and people say, "Oh, I like that. Can you do it again?"
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. So like that's why from 15 to 18, nobody really saw my work. Nobody saw my stuff. So at 18, my mother found my work. She was cleaning up my work because I would just write a poem when it come to me, and then I just leave it. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Leave it here, leave it there, whatever. I'm just writing it. You know, I'll pick it up later. And she was cleaning up my room. I guess she found my poems, and she I think she called me. She called me and she was like, I don't know if she called me or she told me directly or whatever. But she was like, I'm at the coffee. I'll be at the coffee house. Come meet me. You know, it's a Peekskill where we're living. It's a Peekskill coffee house. So after she just wanted me to come chill with her, come kick it or whatever. I'm like, all right. So I went down there. This is before we had like a little had our falling out. So I went down there, and so when I get in, I see them setting up a microphone. Anything. Okay. I sit down, but eventually I asked, I'm like, what's going on? She's like, oh, they got an open mic tonight. So I'm like, but she has a smile on her face or whatever, right? But I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, open mic, that's what's up, you know. So
she found your piece, and she said, my son is talented. I'm gonna put him on the spot.
So she was like, you going up tonight? Like, what you talking about? She's like, your poetry, like my poetry. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing nothing. She's like, nah, go ahead. I'm like, I don't even have nothing on it. At this time, I got all my poems in my head now, but I ain't memorized nothing at the time. So I'm like, I don't even have it on me. So she go down, reach down and pick up a folder. She's like, look, I like this one, and this one. You go read it up. Go read it. I signed you up. I'm like, like, what are you doing? So she signed me up. I went up there, performed the 3 pieces, nervous as hell. And then after I got a good response from the audience. They came to me, they're like, hey, you ever heard of New Yorican poetry? You should go down there. You know what I'm saying? You should go perform down there. I'm like, I was in there. And my mom was like, oh, my mom, I told you when we was younger, she was in college. She had to go there for a class credit or something. So she'd been to the New York. She's like, I know about the New Yorican. She told me about it. So told my boys about it. My boys knew I wrote poetry, but other than that, nobody really knew I wrote. So I told them, like, yo, we go to city, like, I want to tell me about the New Yorican spot, like, would you want to go check it out? So we went down there. I didn't perform that night, but I went just to check it because I didn't know what spoken word was. I knew poetry, like I knew poetry readings, like, but to me it was boring, like people reading books, some old poets.
Hold on, man. I'm feeling this part of the story right here. Your mother put you up to this. She knew that there was something that you had to offer the world. And in the midst of everything that she had going on, she set you up to present your art to the world. And we got comments in the building. P. God Diaz says Mons was gangster.
Yes, my brother right there. Yeah.
He said peace, God. And so you got support in the building, man. I wonder if you could do a piece for us before we go into the break. Let's go.
Yeah, I got you. Let me get a little drink real quick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while he gets his drink, I want you to get your hands on the heart button, the like button, the fire emoji, the hands up emoji. Let's get some love in the building for Ibrahim tonight, y'all. Blow that chat up. Let's go.
All right. So I'm gonna do this. This is like, I guess, one of my favorite pieces. I ain't gonna really give no long intro, but this is why I do it. Sorry to anyone that's ever heard this before, but this is just basically realizing your potential for greatness, you know, and because there's something we talked about earlier is why it sparked me to do this piece. So
let's go.
Most possess the potential. They just lack the essential utensils. But I drop gems, so you should use the jewels that I lend you. First off, forget all you were taught. There's a need. I believe I can help spark an original thought. Because I create constant friction with my conscious diction, so you no longer have to be a contradiction. Just living to die. See, there's more to life before it passes, and the masses, they're not blind. You can see through their eyes. their vision is just blurry. But no need to worry, cause I spit such descriptive scriptures that they paint perfect pictures. And once you better your vision, you can make better decisions the better you're living. Cause my words give birth to revolutionary ideas and the thoughts of my peers. You impregnated off the mere presence of my soul. I got that immaculate conception flow. I'm exceptional. But they fear me because I resemble my father. Brain of a scholar, heart of a martyr. See, my pops had a way with words. He used it to chase the girls. I'll use it to change the world. Because once my compassion is lit, nothing surpasses my passion to spit. It's enough to go around. No need to ration it. But see, I like to take a break from my story and recognize those that God called to before me. A moment of silence for those lost through unnecessary violence. Rest in peace to William Cooper, especially murdered in cold blood by Apache County deputies. You were what most only pretend to be. And for that, I'm picking up where you left off. And for Malcolm and Martin King, I'm doing the same thing. But see, I'm not name dropping for the applause. I'm just trying to show you what you lost. They say I got some pretty big shoes to fill, but they fit me just fine. And I ain't even hit my prime. Throughout time, they've been playing the same sad song. We ain't even call up and request it. They say the truth is hard to swallow and even harder to digest it. I learned you don't have to live it at all to die by the sword. And even a pawn has potential to become the most powerful piece on the board. It's just that many people are stuck in their ways, afraid to break a bill because they can't handle change. I'm just trying to show you a way, not the path that I see fit, the one you pay for yourself once you learn this shit. But see, you got to beware of those trying to distract you with an illusion of truth. That's what illusionists do. See, some things can't be proven. So here's a pen and a pad. You draw your own conclusion. But I got my philosophy. They can't properly interpret my ideology, so they pass it off as arrogance. Please don't get it confused like most do. I'm destined for greatness is so true. But then again, so are you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I shouldn't
like
have, because I'm like, I haven't performed in, with COVID and no open mics. I'm like, I haven't performed in so long. So the whole time I'm like, yo, don't stumble. And I'm like, you're at the end. Don't mess up right here. Then I, you know what I'm saying? Then I mess up.
You know, I didn't hear any mess ups, man. When you're doing something without your phone in front of you, without the teleprompter in front of you, and you just doing it off the top of the head, a lot of times that's when people can really feel you the most.
For sure.
In that moment when you shared that spoken word piece, I feel you connected with so many thousands of people around America today and around the world today. Wow. You talked about some phenomenal concepts. The build was superb, and we're going to talk more about that after this brief message. Everybody sit tight because we'll be right back with more from Ibrahim Siddiq. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network and our viewership. And we're back. Ibrahim, how you feeling out there?
Good. I appreciate this opportunity, man. I have a great time. Thank you.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man. This is your home, man. You can come here anytime you have a piece that you feel provokes the proper emotion and perspective for what we're going through in society. You can stop by here with more pieces, man. This is what this platform is for. This platform is for you, it's for the community, it's for the people, and it's for our upliftment. I want to say hi to everybody out there in the building. We got Emery Curry stopping by. Ani King Riley's out there as well. Yolanda Riley. We got so many good people. P. God Diaz is in the building. We love you guys. Keep dropping comments because it helps the conversation flow. Now, you had a lot of things in that piece that I feel were like philosopher's stones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
A lot of pieces.
It's funny. That's called modern day philosophy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up.
You mentioned original thought in that piece. Can you talk to me about what original thought means to you?
Yeah, I put it like this, like I dropped out of high school like after 10th grade, and the issue I had really was school and schooling, and not just schooling, but how youth receive information and what a lot of times we're taught, and it ties back to what my father taught me about, about his truth and whatever. A lot of times we're taught what to think and not how to think, and a lot of times people have opinions, but they're not opinions really that originated with themselves. It's opinions that were given to them, and told that this is how they're supposed to think, and this is what happens, and this means this and that means that. I with my workshops, or if I'm teaching a class or whatever, I try to take the basis of what my father taught me and not really push my beliefs onto anybody else. Like if I'm debating about somebody, I'm gonna stand my ground and stand by that. But if I'm teaching the youth, I try to give them tools to navigate and understand these issues and think for themselves and understand and come up with your own conclusion. Because at the end of the day, nobody really knows, unless it's hard fact. If we're talking opinion, you know what I'm saying? It's just opinion, so decide for yourself what it is. And to me, that's really the essence of original thought is thinking for yourself. It could be something that a thought that somebody else had, it doesn't have to be an original in that sense, that a thought that nobody else had, but it's not a thought that originated with you, and I know through life it's almost impossible to do that because we have so many biases and influences and things like that. But for the most part, try to think for yourself, basically.
I think that this concept right here is a world-changing concept. I think that original thought is a huge, huge piece of what it's going to take for us to level the playing field. Pretty much in any industry, what levels the playing field is original thought. Mm-hmm. Original thought is whoever came up with the technology that gave way to the iPhone. Mm-hmm. Original thought is whoever came up with the technology that gave way to the instruments that we use today. Mm-hmm. Original thought is the creative factor that makes the world go around. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. In fact, in my own belief system, I believe that we don't have enough conversations about original thought. I think that we are discouraged away from original thought by the amount of so-called education that we need to take in. Yeah. I feel that we never looked for the original thoughts in one another. Mm-hmm. And the reality is people are boundless streams of original thoughts. That's my perspective. I agree. And how much different would our world be if we were exposed to one another's original thoughts? If you wrote that one piece, but I'm sure that there are other pieces that you have. If those pieces continued, there will be several volumes that Ibrahim Siddiq represents in the world, not just a person, and all those volumes would take up space. That space would require accommodation. Right. And so I feel like when we look at the way that we're being accommodated in the world, when we look at it and we say, well, I think our accommodation should be better. I think our communities should be better. I think our schools should be better. I think our medical system should be better. All these accommodations that should be better, to me, point to the fact that we're not really being accommodated at all. Who wants to hear your original thought in class? Who wants to hear your original thought in church? Who wants to hear your original thought at the park? Nobody. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we're making right now, is that only some people's original thoughts get manifest into stuff that we all partake in. But everybody has them. Mm-hmm. I feel we've got a lot of people going to the grave. We got people dying. and we don't know what their thoughts were. We know what the thoughts that were given to us are. We know what's in the Bible. We know what's in the typical math book. We know what's in the typical language arts book, right? But do we know what's inside of one another?
Yeah,
that's not come out yet.
For sure.
So I feel we have a lot of potential that we miss out on when we don't discover the original thoughts of one another. And inside of this hour here on America's Next Motivator, we're raising awareness about the original thoughts that exist and that need to be shared and expressed.
Sure.
When did you realize the power of original thought?
I guess it wasn't really until for myself, I've always recognized the importance of thinking for myself. I don't really know where when I got that, but when I realized the importance and the power of it was when I started performing. When I started actually hitting these open mics, and I would have, I like when I was younger, I would have a lot more. I have controversial pieces now, but I think my writing has gotten better where sometimes it might go undetected. I think my writing was a lot raw, like more raw when I was younger. So I would stir up a lot more feelings. But also I would get the opposite reaction. People that were extremely thankful of me sharing these type of opinions, right. and people that I guess maybe had the same thoughts, but like you said, we're too scared to speak out because like I said, you might not have gone with what the norm was or whatever the case may be. And I just recognize the importance of actually speaking up and sharing these thoughts, whether even if it goes against what the crowd is, what crowd is saying,
That's right. Let's give birth to a challenge right here on America's Next Motivator to share your original thoughts.
Yes.
Let's do that. The original thought challenge. I want to know what your original thoughts are. What do you think about things? What do you think about life? Because your power lies in your original thought. Now, the reason I asked you that question and what I was getting to was sometimes we hear stuff like, oh, we're all the same in so many ways. People are 99.1% the same. Mm-hmm. I feel that your original thought is what makes you different. I think that your original thought is what makes you unique. Mm-hmm. And if you never express your original thoughts, then maybe you do just get herded with everybody else. Maybe you do look like everybody else when you're not sharing original thoughts.
Yeah.
When everything that comes out of your mouth is a cliche from yesterday and a cliche from years ago, everything comes out of a book, then maybe you are just like everybody else. Mm. And how can you ever be an individual without sharing original thought?
Yep. That's
go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. I mean to cut you off. I was going to build on. I said like the truly only original thing or that difference we have is our perspective. You know what I'm saying? Our vantage point of life. So why not share that? There's plenty of things that can stand you apart. But like I said, that's truly original. That your viewpoint.
Yeah.
Just build on what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that, and I know all doesn't apply to every. It's funny how we have to try to broad stroke conversations these days because we live in an information age. You never know what people know, right? Sure. But what we're raising awareness about today is that I don't know that enough people are sharing their original thoughts at all. Mm. I think so many of us we get washed along with everybody else without ever letting the world know what we really think about things. And let alone being able to refine it and make sure that it's actually helpful. Like you said in the beginning, it was raw, but you kept on going. You kept going, and then it refined. It went through a process, and now it's something that's helpful.
Yeah.
And so, what I want the audience out there to think about is this: what are your original thoughts? And I'll give you an example. I had an original thought when I became a motivational speaker after spending years of my life in foster care. My message was success is a choice. I didn't get that out of a book. No one said to me, hey, Cedric, success is a choice. I thought of that. Success is a choice. And as I began to talk and I in my message with success is a choice, people would ask me questions like, well, what do you mean by that? What is success? And why is success a choice? And then I expanded from there to say, you know what? Success is a choice because of what you've been through. And people would take that and they would address it and they would, break it down. And then next thing you know, I said, you know what? There's 3 phases in life everybody needs to know about. First, there's survival, and then there's success, and then there's greatness. Now, that is the foundation of my existence today. If you paid attention to the break, the first commercial, it showed you survival, success, and greatness. And we're going to talk about survival, success, and greatness at the end of this episode. But the point that we're raising tonight is that your original thought can create a platform for the rest of your life. You said that you didn't graduate high school. What did you do to take care of yourself and to really become, a leader in your own life and in your community?
Yeah. Well, I've always been into learning. And it is weird because even after I dropped out of high school, like, so ever since I was in 7th grade, I was in a program that was for kids that were excelled in math and science. And then so on weekends we would take like courses at Mercy College and stuff like that. So that's the only time I was excited to go, because we were doing things that were way advanced than I was doing in middle school and high school, So that's the stuff that had my attention. But yeah, I dropped out after like 10th grade, and but I was always into learning. I would learn myself. I'd be on the internet, studying, watching, reading articles, watching lectures, or whatever the case may be. But at that time, I was also, when I was young, I guess you would say I was in the streets. Just being reckless.
When you were in that portion of your life, I'm sure you were in the University of Hard Knocks. Every day you were likely learning new things and incorporating new things into your toolbox of survival. I don't take anything away from you because you were out there trying to figure out how to grow up without your father in your life. And that's enough, just not having your father in your life. But obviously your mother's got to take care of herself and she's got to take care of her family. But I take nothing away from you by you going an unconventional route to adulthood. In fact, I respect you because you learned lessons that some people never get the luxury of learning. People don't know what it's like to be out on the streets, whether you're couch surfing or living from one place to another, trying to avoid homelessness, trying to avoid the dangers of being out in public. Those types of things teach you a lot, and you can't get some of those lessons out of a book. Right now, we have 444,000 youth in a foster care system. Many of those young people will become homeless or incarcerated or otherwise unattached. What advice do you have for people out there who feel like they're trying to figure out how to survive? What advice do you have to them?
Well, I mean, essentially, I mean, as cliched as this may sound, it starts with a plan. You got to figure out, and a lot of times people confuse having goals and plan. Plan and goals are different. You know what I'm saying? A plan is what's going to get you to your goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times people like, I want to live in a big house and I want to drive, I want to drive a fancy car, and like, but what steps are you taking to get to that, that point? And I think too often we underestimate just the importance of having a plan, because that's what it took for me. I was kind of drifting through life from like, because from 14 to 22, 23, I was in and out of court, you know what I'm saying? And I always got lucky, you know what I'm saying? Not getting serious, that getting off on a charge, or when my last charge when I was 19, I took it to trial and ended up beating it. And that was like where I decided, like, I got to turn this around because there's too many close calls. I'm getting off. But now I'm going for a tangent. I forgot what.
This is a cosmic dance.
Yeah.
Who helped you to create the plan that got you to where you are today?
Well, I don't think it was any one person. It was kind of just gems I took here and there from my life, from things that my father taught me, from things that he actually said to me, things that my mother taught me, just from what I've seen from her, what my grandmother taught me. And and then just me applying that and kind of learning for myself. And what helped, like I said, and I always, this another cliche line, but like people always say like art saved my life or poetry saved my life. Like it literally did, you know, for me. Right. Because when that time that I first went to the New Eurekan and saw some people doing spoken word, and I'm like, oh, I can do this, you know. And then I saw artists, poets have merch. They selling their CDs and books and stuff, like, and people buying them, like they making money, like a lot, some good money. And I'm like, I could sell this. I don't have to sell anything else, like, you know what I'm saying? So I put together a poetry CD, and I would go, and I went to cause from, like, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but from 18 and like, no, not 18, from like 19, close to 20 to like 21, 22, I was homeless. Just, you know, just bouncing around, like, I mean, I've slept in the street before, but not really street homeless, like just kind of crashing on people's couches here and there or whatever, until I got a stable spot in a city and really got to get back into the poetry. And like I said, that's when I saw people, like I said, they're making money off this art. So I'm like, I realized I can kind of do that. So it was a learning curve. It took time, and I like first, like I said, I started hitting the open mic spots. I put together a CD, and I would go early to the open mic, to the New Eurekan or whatever open mic was. I would sign up, try to perform like third or fourth when there's a good crowd in there, but early perform, and then go stand right outside the building till everybody exits and ask me, you know what I'm saying, you want to support my CD? You want to support my CD? Because when I first moved to the city, if I ain't sell no CDs, I wasn't eating that night. Like it was really like I was on the grind. Yeah.
We're rounding third base here.
Yeah, okay.
We've had a great conversation tonight. There's a couple things that I want to make sure that we cover before we end the show. This is the power of original thought right here, everybody. Mm-hmm. When you say, okay, what are you guys talking about when you say original thought? What is this? Why is it important? Why is it significant? It's significant because when you're able to compile your original thoughts into a product, in this case, it was a book, and then sell it, you're doing a couple of different things there. You're making something out of nothing.
Right.
You are creating a product that you can now exchange for money. So now you're making a living off of your original thought. And so your original thought is a potential income stream that a lot of us are not tapping into.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not revealing your original thought for them to reverberate with the people around you, and you're not making anything tangible out of your original thought, then you're missing out on an income stream. It could be a huge income stream. It could be a moderate income stream. Nevertheless, it's an income stream.
Income stream, yep.
In other words, you're like a prophet, and the evidence that you're a prophet is your original thought. And what people will do is they will buy your original thought because they appreciate your original thought. You can't put together a book of poems that everybody else wrote and expect somebody to buy them.
Yeah.
When you put together a body of work that came from your mind, it's valuable. So I want people to make the connection between that which is inside of you and value. You are valuable, everybody. That's what we're raising awareness about tonight. Doesn't matter if you graduated high school or if you didn't, graduated college or if you didn't, had your mother or your father or you didn't. No matter where you are in the world, in life, you have original thought. And that is what was granted to you by the universe to profit, to show value, and to build a foundation for your future. So I got 3 questions for you.
Okay.
The first question I have for you is, what is survival to you?
Survival is just maintaining, you know what I'm saying, the bare minimum. Just doing what you got to do to keep pushing and still be here. It's not a good place to be, survival mode, you know, but it's unfortunately is what a lot of us know, and sometimes it's the only thing we know, you know, for too many of us.
Do you feel, and we got 30 seconds left in the show, do you feel that too many people are stuck in survival mode?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just a lot of times a lack of education. I think education is a key to emancipation, you know, and breaking out of that. But a lot of times we just don't know. A lot of people don't want to be in that mode, but they don't know how to break out of it, you know?
That's right. What I also want to share to the world tonight is that expression is a key to progression.
Mm.
You look at the music industry today, you look at people who are either rapping, singing, doing poetry, spoken word. The arts are vehicles for people to elevate their lives. We have access to the arts. Realize that the arts are a vehicle for you to change your life. Pick an art and do it and watch your life change. What is success to you?
Success is just that's different for everybody, but just achieving your goals, being who you want. Success doesn't mean money, but it just means being proud of the work you've done, your life, and looking back on it. You know,
what is greatness to you?
Greatness is taking that success and leaving a legacy behind, something that people are going to talk about. You know, something that, you know, success could be for yourself, but greatness is something. What have you done for others that's going to leave sort of a legacy for others to speak about?
That's right. Ibrahim, I want to let you know that we've listened to your story today, and we love the way that you overcame adversity. You continue to be a positive force. You use your art to express the things that we need to hear. We're giving you respect today. Like, ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat, because we're giving you a crown today while you can still receive it. We're giving you a crown today. We are letting you know, letting the world know that you, Ibrahim Siddiq, you are America's next motivator.
Appreciate that, family.
Absolutely. You got crowns coming into the building. Thanks for stopping by tonight, all right?
What's up? That's what's up.
Absolutely. All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you got to do, just like you did today, is stop by and pick it up.